Hi, I'm Charles Purcell, host of The Log here on WXRW, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Repeat shows, several of them, including Tuesdays at 9, I believe. I'm in here right now to talk with you about our big end-of-year December fund drive, fundraiser. A chance for you to become a member of the family here. So get out your phone. Punch this number in, 414-265-7420. Again, 414-265-7420. Call in your pledge of any amount, and we'll keep this thing going. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I'm here with my buddies from The Log, our resident news and culture analysts, Chucky Bucky.
Hey there, hi there, ho there.
And Uncle Chuck. Hello there, Charles Purcell, collectively known as Chuck and Chucky. Everybody call in, 414-265-7420.
You can also go to the website, riverwestradio.com. Click on the donate button. You can do that too. If you're one of those guys who's shy, you got social anxiety, you can't, or you're phone phobic. Nobody talks on the phone anymore.
Well, that's right. Nobody really talks on the phone. You're texting and you're scrolling through your social feed, and you're using your phone to navigate through Milwaukee when you're driving the streets, and maybe you're somewhere unfamiliar. So there are lots of reasons to use your phone, lots of apps, but nobody talks anymore. So yes, that's a good point there, Chucky Bucky. If you're phone phobic, you go ahead and use that riverwestradio.com, click on the donate button. Okay. But this is our special time that we'd really like to hear from you. Everybody's not phone phobic. We're social around here. So, yeah, give us a call. 414-265-7420. We don't do this very often. This is pretty rare that we do this sort of a thing. Ask you for money.
So how much money should they be given?
Well, any amount they want. $5, $10, $20, $100,
$200, $1,000,
$1 million, whatever you got. Whatever you got jangling around in your pocket there.
See, I thought we were all about having no money. Charles Purcell, you're always talking about how money is the root of all evil, and you shouldn't even have any or spend any, or you're never going to ask anybody for money. You're always saying that.
Well, yeah, I am. This is the one exception. I think the one exception. This is the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, right. I mean, in a perfect world, there's no such thing as money. It doesn't exist. There would be community radio stations in every neighborhood. The Third Ward would have a little community radio station, a neighborhood radio station, and the North Side would have one, and West Allis would have one, and Bayview would have one, and it would just be there for everybody. That's a perfect world. But we don't live in a perfect world yet, and I think that those of us here in Riverwest should understand how fortunate we are to have this incredible resource. Riverwest Radio is just the greatest thing in the whole wide world. To have voices from the neighborhood, real, genuine people talking on the radio, the way the world ought to work. We got all these polished folks, all this big money, spoon feeding you all this sort of ridiculous kind of entertainment and skewed information that suits their purposes. They're taking you where they want to take you, right? But here on Riverwest Radio, it's real people, it's your neighbors talking about things that are important to you, or you know what I like about it? I love listening to Riverwest Radio and discovering things I never would have discovered otherwise. It's like finding that great dusty old book somewhere in the corner of a little used bookstore, and it just turns into this gem. Like, I had no idea I needed this. I had no idea how entertained I would be by this. I had no idea how informed I would be by this. And that's what happens every day when I listen to Riverwest Radio. It's my go-to. It's just there all the time, ready to go. It's the wallpaper of my soundscape. to mix a metaphor here.
Oh, sure, I know what you're saying. Yeah, exactly right. If you just, go out with an idea of what you want to look for, and you go to the, whether it's a book or a movie or a TV show or a radio show, whatever it is, if you go out thinking ahead of time what you are looking for, and then you go search for it, well, okay, that's fine. Maybe you'll find it. But you're right, Charles Purcell. There's this great sort of wonderful joy in just stumbling upon something that you weren't expecting.
Yeah, and that happens every time I listen to Riverwest Radio. I'm enthralled by all of it. And the kind of people I might not run into, these weirdos and oddballs. Well, that's right. There are some weirdos and oddballs, present company excluded or included. Yep, Riverwest Radio is a gem. I got to tell you, it's a gem. 414-265-7420. We're asking you to contribute whatever you can. A couple of bucks, 5, 10, 20, 100, 1,000, whatever you got. 414-265-7420. As you can hear in the background here, we've got a lot of activity going on. It's happening. It's happening right now. Yeah, this is the way radio was supposed to be. Here, let's do a little, how's it? A little history of radio right here, okay?
Oh, that sounds good. A little history of radio. Okay, take it away. What you got?
All right, let's run this down real quick. Marconi sends the first radio signal in, 1895? That's not that long ago. About 120 years? That's not that long ago in the whole scope of things. And then we had the Radio Act of 1912. It was facilitated by, or inspired by, the Titanic, of all things, because there was interference in the radio signals when they were trying to get to the Titanic and communicate about, the rescue. So they created the Radio Act of 1912 to make sure that radio waves were regulated in a way that there wouldn't be that interference. So that was the first time the government got involved. And then 1917 is an interesting year. Right here in Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin began voice broadcasting for the first time. Radio station 9XM, which is the forerunner of present-day Wisconsin Public Radio. And then other colleges and universities kind of picked up on that, and through the 1920s, then we had this first iteration of radio. Until now, it's becoming a little bit of a Wild West show. A lot of stations and a lot of interference and a lot of, no rules. So in 1927, the Radio Act of 1927 created the Federal Radio Commission to try to get a hold on that, and created licensing and all of that. And it's still a pretty wild ride, which is great, kind of exciting. And the Communications Act of 1934 then, with the FDR and the whole New Deal, kind of part of that thing, that created the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, and now we're getting a little more involved. And so far, so good. The one mistake they did make, though, is they gave way too much power to the commercial networks. That's really kind of the birth of NBC. They had the red network and the blue network, and it kind of set this foundation for commercial radio, which over the decades, we see the disaster that has come from that. Again, this is Charles Purcell with Chuck and Chucky, and we're asking for your donations to this very worthy effort here. 414-265-7420, WXRW FM, Riverwest Radio, your greatest resource. Call that number. If it's busy, if you have trouble getting through, just go to the website, riverwestradio.com. There's a donate button there. Makes it real simple. So it's our little radio history lesson here. So the 1934 Communications Act created the FCC, and a couple of years later, 1938, the FCC establishes a new class of non-commercial educational radio stations. So they got the right idea. Again, this is FDR, this is New Deal era. Here's an interesting point in the history of radio. Pacifica. You guys know Pacifica?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's the radio network. Pacifica radio stations. Sure, I know about. They're good.
Yeah. They began in 1949. They began operation of KPFA in Berkeley, California, which I have a really soft spot for. That's where we produced Neo Radio many years ago. Our musical director, Peter Donalds, hosted that program and co-produced it with his partner, Frank Skillman. We've got that online, too, by the way, at the website. charlespurcell.com. Go check out Neo Radio.
Oh, shameless plug. Shameless plug.
Yeah, why not? So that was the first listener-supported radio station. Listener-supported. Now we're talking. And that's why we're here, to ask for your support for this great resource. Riverwest Radio, 414-265-7420. Call right now. Operators are standing by. And so through the 1950s and 60s then, educational broadcasting is what they called it, and that really kind of took off both in radio and television. Until 1967, when the Johnson administration, the Public Broadcasting Act, that created the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, so now it's about funding, and that's all good, but it starts to get a little hinky. Now it's big government is involved, and watch out. And we're kind of starting to move away from the community idea. It was kind of a fork in the road, where community radio stations stayed in their lane of providing community voices and with local autonomy, local responsibility, and local accountability, to this much more sort of professional, polished, more national-oriented, more celebrity-oriented, more money-oriented radio began. It's still pretty good. I mean, don't get me wrong. But that's where you can see that divide starting to happen. And then NPR, National Public Radio, is established in 1970. And now you got your morning edition and your All Things Considered. Now, the interesting thing about that is when NPR began, the whole model, the whole idea was that they would just take the best from these local community stations and they would use them as resources for the national program. So, example, in the early days of All Things Considered, you would hear a nice segment from Madison, Wisconsin, and then another nice segment from Missoula, Montana, and another nice segment from Fresno, California, and another from St. Petersburg, Florida. And you have all this great patchwork of interesting voices from all around the country. That's what NPR was in 1970. Now, it quickly changed from that. They felt they had to get, again, more professional, more polished. And money. You know, money ruins everything. Except Riverwest Radio. Money does not ruin us. We got to pay the bills, you know. So give us a call. What's that number again, Chucky?
414-265-7420. So I didn't know that. So in 1970, when NPR began, that's what it was? It was the patchwork kind of thing you're talking about?
Yeah, it was really wonderful. And you had a real diversity of voices. It was pretty great. Yeah, I remember back in the day, a regular commentator on one of the shows there, All Things Considered, or Morning Edition, a regular commentator on those programs was Michael Harrington. And he would give these great little essays, these great little commentaries on the news of the day or on his thoughts on a particular issue. And it was always really fascinating and really interesting. And then only after his commentary was over, they would say that was Michael Harrington, founding member of the Democratic Socialists of America. And as just a young fella, I remember thinking, oh my goodness, that was a socialist? Of course, all we heard, and we hear from certain segments today, is that that's just a dirty word. So I loved what they did there. They let him say his piece first without labeling him. That had to be an intentional decision, I would say. They'd have him give his little 5-minute commentary. As a young fella, I was completely drawn in and found it fascinating and worthy of listening to. But then only when it's over do they say, well, there he is, Democratic Socialist of America, Michael Harrington. And that made quite an impression on me. So as much as people want to say NPR is lefty now, that's what they could never do this today. They could never put on a socialist today and get away with it. And they don't even try. They've been so pilloried by the right and accused of being lefty that they don't do that. So you're right, Charles Purcell. Public radio, national public radio, over the years has gotten much more timid and mainstream and center. It's still good.
Oh, yeah, we all agree. I think they're still really good, and we listen. There are buddies on the radio dial, sure.
And then as we conclude our little radio history here, the Telecommunications Act of 1996, that's when it really hit the fan. Now we've got Bill Clinton in the White House and this sort of new way of being a Democrat, and they totally went to the right. Big shift, this big national polar shift from Reagan on down. And it's all about deregulation, and it's all about freeing up people with money to do what they will. So that's the downward spiral. And again, I think we all agree. Again, like you said, Chucky Bucky, there are neighbors on the radio dial. We like NPR, but let's face it, it's not Riverwest Radio. It's not community radio. They do what they do, and they serve their purpose, but they've really lost their way. Well, if you want to still have that, then Riverwest Radio is where you need to be. And Riverwest Radio is what you need to support. And that's what this is all about. We're here to ask you for your support. And we're asking right now to call 414-265-7420 and keep local voices, keep this valuable resource on the air. We can't do it without you. Absolutely not. It's all about you. 414-265-7420. And again, if the lines are busy, if you're having trouble getting through, well, just go to riverwestradio.com. Click on that donate button. Nothing to it. So, Chucky Bucky, what should they expect when they call the phone number?
Oh, nothing much. Just somebody's going to say, hey there, hi there, ho there to you, and ask for your credit card number. And there you go. That's about it.
Oh, so they should have their credit card handy.
Oh, yeah. That's the way you do it.
Well, here, let's have a little demonstration here. Okay, bring, hello, Riverwest Radio, fund drive, December, end of the year, make some money, fund drive, hello.
Hello, I'm interested in contributing some money.
Well, that's great. How much do you want to give? $1,000? That would be good.
Oh, geez, I don't know about that. I could give, say, 20?
Well, that's wonderful. Fine, okay. You got your credit card there handy?
Oh, yeah, it's a Visa. It's a Visa, and the number is 158-37286112, 1841-36-19847237821, 5667121212341223-8.
Well, very good. I've got that. And what's the security code?
I'm sorry, what? What's that?
What's the 3-digit code on the back of your card there?
Oh, geez, I never noticed that. I don't know. 81. It's all slanty. I can't read it. 817, I think.
Okay, we'll try that. Let me click that right in there. And it's Chucky Bucky, right? Is that what you said?
I don't think I said.
Well, this is just a demonstration. I assume that you said it, Chucky Bucky. Okay, very good. You're all set. Thank you for your donation of $20,000. We appreciate it.
Hey, wait a minute. I didn't say 20,000. I said 20.
I'm pretty sure you said 20,000 there, Chucky Bucky.
Well, okay then. I'll take out a loan. All right. Take care.
Thanks for contributing. And see, that's just how easy it is. You can call right now, 414-265-7420. You love Riverwest Radio. We all love Riverwest Radio. Again, the other stuff is fine. I listen to NPR. Sure. It's good to catch the news at the top of the hour occasionally. And, when things are really going on, big news from Washington, they're great. They're fine. I don't want to put them down too much. They're fine. But they ain't us. We got the goods right here. We got the goods. It's community radio at its very best. It's local voices. And it's convenient. We've got that whole new thing now where all you have to do is say, hey, Siri, or what's the other one? Hey, Alexa, or hey, Google, play Riverwest Radio. You got, if you got those smart speakers, oh, we're right there up with the times, baby. Play Riverwest Radio. All you got to say to your smart speaker, and then they'll do it.
I don't have that in my house.
I don't either. I don't trust them. I don't need a smart speaker. I don't need somebody listening to me all day.
No, that's fine. But a lot of people have it, and I suppose, it's convenient. So, sure. Hey, Alexa, play Riverwest Radio. That's all you got to do. We should expand that. Say, hey, Alexa, donate $100 to Riverwest Radio.
I don't think we can do that yet. That'll be next year. For this year, it's just the old-fashioned phone number, 414-265-7420. Punch that into your phone right now, 414-265-7420. Punch that into your phone and then hit call. You know how to make a call, right? Like you say, nobody makes calls anymore. Everybody texts and uses apps and things. Call right now, and you're going to talk to a live person, an actual flesh and blood, living, breathing person. They're going to take your information. It's going to take a couple seconds. While you're on the line, it doesn't have to. It can take a little more than a couple seconds if you want. Please, we encourage you to talk with the volunteer here taking the calls. Tell them what you like about Riverwest Radio. You can make any suggestions, maybe. Tell them what shows you like. What's your favorite show? What's your favorite show on Riverwest Radio, Chucky Bucky?
Oh, there's some good ones. Well, of course, you got to start with the best of them all, Democracy Now! We're talking about local voices. That's the one thing that's not local, but it's such a great resource. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is the only place you can hear Democracy Now! On the radio dial in Milwaukee. It's such a treasure. Amy Goodman and Democracy Now! Are such a treasure. Every day, every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. and noon.
Yeah, I think you're right. Democracy Now! Great. I like. I really like Life is Awkward. Have you heard that one? That's a lot of fun. Life is Awkward. And it is. It's kind of awkward. Yeah, I like that one too. I've heard it. They're wonderful. And that really is the sort of quintessential example of the local voice. You're going to hear, when you tune in, something you don't hear anywhere else on the dial, and that is the genuineness of people. You can hear them thinking. When you're in a great conversation with someone, and it just feels so natural and wonderful, and you're discovering things together while it's happening. Oh, sure. That's the greatest thing about a good conversation, is the discovery that's inherent in that conversation. Right, exactly. And that's what's happening on our programs here at Riverwest Radio. And Life is Awkward is a great example of that. You can hear them. You can hear them discover things live in the moment. And then that leads to something else and to something else. And they're talking in a very wonderful sort of natural way that's not all, polished and planned to within an inch of its life. It's real. It's so real. And you're right there with them. So there's a good one.
Oh, I'll tell you another one I like. Oh, Cinema Fireside with our buddy Mark Borchardt and his buddy Gabe is his name, I think. Oh, a scholarly encyclopedic knowledge of film. They are so good. That's a wonderful show. That's just a wonderful show.
RiverwestRadio.com. Click on the donate button. Or more importantly, for our purposes right now, we've got people at the phone ready for your call. 414-265-7420. Contribute right now, whatever amount you can handle.
Dig deep. Give until it hurts. Give until, you just can't stand it hurts so much.
414-265-7420. Yeah, Packerverse. I like Packerverse. That's one of my favorite shows currently. Especially during Packer season. It's fun to listen to them. Oh, sure. There's so many good shows. So many good shows. Sessions with Sandy. See, we haven't even talked about that yet. Radio. What do you think? When you think radio, you think music and news. Those are the two big things, primarily, right? Music and news. And we got the news with Democracy Now! We got just great conversation. That's a big part of our programming. But music, there are a lot of great music programs, and Sessions with Sandy is right up there. There's both the conversation and the music. She speaks with local musicians, and Milwaukee is just, oh my goodness, our cup runneth over with fine musicians. And Sessions with Sandy, that's Sandy Weistow, of course. Talk about a treasure. She's a Milwaukee treasure. A musician in her own right, a darn good one. I've heard her many times. A singer, vocalist, guitarist, and she hosts her program and talks with other local musicians, and it's a wonderful, wonderful program. One of my favorites. 414-265-7420. Of course, all these programs we're talking about, volunteer producers. Everybody's a volunteer here. All the producers, all the hosts, everything you hear, volunteer. So we're keeping the budget pretty tight. But of course, we still need, got to turn on the lights, got to turn on the heat in these Wisconsin winters. The phone bill, the internet bill, got to pay rent, insurance,
Oh, sure. And then there's the, stuff that's particular to radio, the equipment, maintenance, and there's license fees and donuts and
yeah, donuts. That's what really keeps a radio station going, donuts. But yeah, right you are. That's what this is about. You're just helping to keep on the lights. You're helping to make sure we don't freeze while we're in here in these Wisconsin winters. Got to have the heat. Office supplies, license fees. Sure. Pay the rent. It's pretty simple. This is not rocket science. It's just really, really, really great radio. And I know you love it. And I know you'd like to contribute. 414-265-7420. You think about, these days, the way media works. Streaming services. It's all about streaming services.
Oh, the streaming services, they can just go suck it. These days, there's too much. We're overloaded, and who the heck cares anyway? I don't care about all that stuff.
Well, no, I don't either. They made up, Disney Plus just launched recently, and everybody was just so, who cares? You get everything you need from Riverwest Radio right here. Again, we were talking about NPR News and Morning Edition. I mean, you don't need any more than this. You're right. I don't do any of the streaming services. I don't know why people feel they need them. With the quality news-oriented stuff, you're covered. That's all. You do not, trust me, you do not need the cable news stations. Not only do you not need them, you don't want them. You do not want Fox. You do not want CNN, MSNBC. They're just making everybody crazy. And we've mentioned all sort of newsy things, and we're kind of newsy guys. But okay, granted, you want a little entertainment once in a while. Fine. If you really need to just veg out and watch a little TV, it doesn't matter what it is. I remember back in my broadcasting school days, there was a concept known as LOV, least objectionable viewing. And that's the idea that you just flip around until you find something that's not so horrible. That's all you really need. That's exactly what I do. I just kind of take a look and say, there's an old Andy Griffith episode, or there's I know, Charles, you like film noir. You've mentioned it many times. Oh, yeah, I love film noir. And there's I was just going to say, there's a film noir movie station. Well, they don't show only film noir, but they show an awful lot of it. So, yeah, just do your LOV for entertainment. That's all you really need. Yeah, community radio is where it's at. Yeah, we're all you need. We're all you need. You're not enriching your life with that stuff. I guarantee it. Believe me, trust me on this. 414-265-7420. Or go to riverwestradio.com, click on the donate button. And if we haven't said it yet, let's say it before we head out here. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's Uncle Chuck. That's Chucky Bucky. I'm Charles Purcell, host of The Log here on Riverwest Radio. Thank you.